I will be using the MD8 size 12 IOL and the Naviject injector for this video. To start off, this is the cartridge of the injector. This section's your chamber, these are your flaps. Inside the chamber, there's a nice feature. There are 2 grooves inside the chamber. Your IOL will lay inside those, preventing it from floating up during the loading process. To hold the cartridge, have 2 fingers on each flap, one underneath. This gives you stability and the ability to open and close the flaps during the loading process. First step is to put a thin line of visco in the bed of that chamber. All this is for is to give lubrication to the chamber so the IOL can slide easily during insertion. Next step, to pull out your IOL. The easiest way to do this is take your forceps. One side goes under, one side goes on top, pinch, and it slides right out. Since I am using the MD8, it is directional. So on the haptic, there's a notch. That notch in the haptic needs to go in the top left corner of the chamber, because on the posterior side of this optic there's a 360 barrier to help delay PCO. So I'm going to place it like so. It needs to be centered in between the flaps. So what you're going to do is center it, slowly close the flaps of the cartridge while patting down the edges of the IOL. Because what you want to do is pat it down so it fits inside those grooves that I mentioned earlier. While patting down, slowly close the flaps of the cartridge. The cartridge itself will clamp shut. Next quick tip is there is a clear section of the flaps. This section should be clear. No haptic should be there. If there's no haptic, you're ready to move forward. If there is a haptic clamped in between the 2 flaps, you're going to have problems down the road. But we're good, so we can move forward. The cartridge slides into place into the injector and needs to go all the way forward. Next quick tip is this plunger. That blue little plunger needs to enter straight into the chamber of the cartridge. If it doesn't, it can pinch a haptic and cause problems later on. But you need to take your visco, fill the back end of the cartridge, and then you need to fill the front end with visco as well. Next, like I said, make sure it enters the cartridge straight on. Push until the haptic enters the tube. Right there. Once you see the haptic, you're ready to enter the eye and inject the IOL. And if everything's done correctly, it should inject nice and smoothly.